It's Gorman in the Morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Good Thursday morning. It is July the 10th, and I'm very happy to be seated right here next to Paul Fletcher.
Had to turn the mic on first. Sorry, I did it. Good morning. I'm still dreaming about the Blue Barn's new item, Sweet Squeakers. Cheese curds with lemon sauce and berry sauce. And oh my God. Yeah.
Nice.
You wonder why I'm fat.
You'll do some squeaking after putting a few of those down. Make no mistake about it.
Correct.
Ryder is also on hand.
Oh my goodness.
Historic concert announcement day, gentlemen. Are you aware of this?
I've
heard.
There's goosebumps on my arm.
7 a.m.
At 7 a.m. We're gonna what? How do we say this? We're gonna blow people's minds.
Sure, maybe. I was looking through a bunch of Minnesota history, so I don't know how blown their minds are going to be because the bar's a little bit low, but it's going to be epic.
Suffice to say, about an hour from now, we're going deep to the wall with a concert announcement. Is that where we can just leave it for now?
Sure.
I mean, it's a huge show.
It is. Massive one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's I'm going to stop talking. I don't want to spoil it, and I don't trust myself to keep my mouth shut. So, an hour from now, we're going to blow your hair back like the old Maxell cassette commercials. In the meantime, as we are right here at the top of the 6 o'clock hour, I'm feeling Minnesota. So, Paul Fletcher, why don't you lay some headlines on me?
I'm sorry to backtrack, but my software had locked up and I couldn't describe correctly. Sweet Squeakers are white cheddar cheese curds coated in funnel cake batter topped with lemon whipped cream and a drizzle of berry sauce. That's what was stuck in my head.
All right. This what's happening this morning is nobody's freaking computer works?
It's like, this is my personal one. I don't know what the deal is, but it's fine now. Thank God.
Okay.
All I know is that's going to lead to even more squeaking. Trust me.
Yes.
Better grab some Metamucil when you go for a second plate of those.
Yeah, right? All right, here we go. Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman has been discharged from the ICU just over 3 weeks after he and his wife Yvette were shot in their home. Officials provided life-saving measures to both on the scene back on June 14th before they were taken to an area hospital where they underwent surgery. Yvette was released from the hospital on June 19th. So that's some good news in that awful situation.
Great news. Godspeed and healthy healing up to both.
For sure, 100%. Authorities have confirmed 120 are dead and more than 170 still missing because they say chances of finding survivors at this point are quite slim. Of course, I'm talking about the Texas flooding. After even more rain yesterday, search and rescue operations enter a 7th day today. Also, southern New Mexico experienced historic flash flooding on Tuesday, leaving 3 people dead in the mountain town of Ruidoso. River waters rose roughly 20 feet in less than an hour. Think about that. It's insanity, man. Enough flooding. We've had enough flooding for the year.
Incomprehensible, truly.
David Bowie's final albums have been compiled with rarities and live recordings from the era for a new box set. I Can't Give Everything Away, 2002 to 2016. The collection includes remastered versions of Heathen, Reality, The Next Day, and The Next Day Extra EP, as well as the original versions of Black Star and the No Plan EP. The physical version of the box set will also include a hardback book of unseen notes, drawings, and handwritten lyrics. Sounds like a treasure trove for fans.
Get after it, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
100%. All right, bear with me on this one. Holy buckets. A woman in San Jose has been getting hundreds of Amazon packages over the past year, and they all contain the same thing: oversized fake leather car seat covers, which were made in China. Picture your house with hundreds and hundreds of unwanted boxes.
Well, hold on. Is she running an oversized fake leather car seat racket?
No. No.
Okay.
In fact, she even refused delivery on hundreds more. She repeatedly complained to Amazon, but they gave her the runaround. They told her to dispose of the boxes herself or donate them. But the woman said she can't afford to do that, and no charity wants hundreds of fake leather seat covers. Turns out the Amazon seller was in China, and they randomly put her address as the return address because they didn't want to have to pay for these large boxes to be sent all the way back to China. It's basically a scam to get around Amazon's international policy. Once she went to the TV station, they aired it. Once it did on the news, Amazon finally sent a truck to her house to pick up all these boxes, and they've supposedly taken care of the issue, so she never receives them again.
The lesson, as always, you got to get TV involved if you want to go up against Bezos.
It's 100% true. Nothing happened until she got the word out.
Exactly right.
Check it out. Minneapolis' historic Stone Arch Bridge will be reopening to the public ahead of schedule. The bridge will again be accessible to pedestrians and cyclists starting Saturday, August 9th. This is 2 months before ahead of schedule. There's a whole big reopening celebration happening from 11 to 1 on August 9th, featuring food trucks, live entertainment, and then there's a bunch of other details that'll come out as we get closer. I'd say finishing a $38.5 million project early warrants a shindig.
I'd say the 3 happiest people to find this out: me, Chauncey, and Tubby.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Members of the U.S. Senate unanimously approved legislation authorizing Lulu's Law. The bill is named after Lulu Gribben, 15 years old, who suffered a serious shark attack last year in the Florida Panhandle. Passed in the Senate on Tuesday, the new law directs the Federal Communications Commission to issue wireless emergency alerts whenever sharks are spotted in coastal waterways. The bill will now go on to the House for a vote. That seems like good legislation to me.
I would think so.
Oasis will release a 14 LP box set called Oasis Complete Studio Collection on August 22nd. It includes all 7 of their studio albums and the B-Sides compilation, The Master Plan. It will also be available on 9 CDs if you still do that. But it sounds to me, the studio albums and the B-Sides, it sounds like they're just repackaging their albums.
Well, sure. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like there's any extras or anything like that.
That's what you go for. Whatever it takes.
This is fun. Tell me if you guys get creeped out. Rumor has it that Apple's upcoming iOS update will include a quote-unquote feature that detects if you're having phone sex over FaceTime. It'll pause your camera and ask you to confirm that you're, quote, comfortable with this.
But don't worry, no one's watching or listening in on everything you do. Nope, that's just an internet rumor.
You know what? I just love that Apple is now going to. You know what? It's promoting consensual phone sex.
Apple, get your freak on.
That's right. That's right.
Jeez,
it's supposed to be a, quote, security feature, but people are creeped out that they're knowing when we're being naughty. Still technically a rumor, but beta testers have seen it in action. Last but not least, they say Apple's not spying on your naughty chats. The images on FaceTime are analyzed using machine learning locally on your phone. Nothing's transmitted to Apple if you take them at their word.
I'd rather have like some kind of celebratory fireworks going off, like congratulations on your fun, kinky time, rather than are
Sure.
you comfortable right now?
Oh, my God.
I mean, either way, they're still listening.
Yeah,
they're
not
still
they're-
listening.
it's-
Listening and
it's-
learning, giving some pointers.
That's right.
No kid. You know, we could all take. Never mind. I'm not even going to go on that tangent.
Oh, man, I can't believe that. Unbelievable.
A few things happened last night at Target Field before the Twins took on the Cubs. Great news for Joe Ryan. He's an all-star.
Nice.
How about that? And by the way, not a minute too late. Not a minute too soon. Joe Ryan could have made a strong case over the last 2 years, but this time he's finally in. There was it's an injury replacement, so this is why he got the late notification. He's filling in, but it doesn't matter. You're an all-star, Joe Ryan. Congrats. You've been playing great baseball. Then the Twins went out and beat the Cubs again,
Yes.
4-2. But our other all-star, center fielder Byron Buxton, took a ball right off his left hand while he was in the batter's box. A very fast ball in the upper 90s went straight into the back of his left hand, non-throwing, thankfully. He still stayed in the game for a play, stole second base after going to first, but then medical guys said, look, we got to take a look at that. He was pulled from the game. Baldelli and Buxton say it's all fine. It's going to be okay. All I know is this. You hit me in the left hand with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, I'm taking a month off. That's just me.
I'm freaking squirming right now.
Yeah, it's
Stay healthy.
I would say go look at the slow motion link to the video, and but then I realized no, actually don't do that at all. The Lynx lost last night. It's so odd to say those words.
Wow.
They had already beaten the Phoenix Mercury twice this season, but Alyssa Thomas of the Mercury had not played against the Lynx. She did last night. She had 29 points. Final 5 minutes of the game, Phoenix went on a 19-4 run.
Whoa.
So that's not any way to close out a game, ladies. But a great reminder, Alyssa Thomas back in, looking great. Nafissa's back on. Collier playing great. And for all the Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers talk, blah, blah, blah. Remember, Like when Magic and Bird showed up the NBA, they still had Kareem, Dr. J, and George Gervin, the WNBA, with people like Alyssa Thomas. There's always somebody out there who can step on your throat in the game. Make no mistake, that league is loaded with talent. And finally, another basketball note, local boy Chet Holmgren. So far, let's recap his summer.
Cha-ching.
18 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 blocks in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. So he is now a champion. He was back last week leading a youth camp at Minnehaha Academy, showing off his Larry O'Brien trophy. And then yesterday, he signed the maximum rookie contract extension, fully guaranteed 5 years, $250 million.
Yeah.
Pretty good summer for old Chet so far.
Back up the Brinks truck.
Especially when you consider the fact that my man is injury prone. You know, it's not like he's getting 82 games a season in. So, hey, congrats to local fella Chet Holmgren. Wyoming, Minnesota, thanks for being with us this morning. Glad to have you on hand.
Good morning, 7,791 people.
Wyoming. Gorgeous part of the world right up the road there.
Yeah.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Okay, my name is Steven with a V. I was born in the summer of 1965, and my birth certificate spelled Stephen.
No.
And when I was 3 days old, my parents changed their mind. They said, you know what? Let's put a V in there instead. So for 3 days, I was Stephen, and then after 3 days, I was Steven. And I'm not really sure what got a hold of them to make the change. I'm glad they did. I prefer the V, but then again, that's all I've ever known. But the story behind the name Stephen to begin with, my mom, first time she had a baby was 1951, my oldest brother, Bob. And throughout her pregnancy, she was going to name her firstborn, if it were a boy, Stephen. That was the plan.
Oh. Okay.
And then my dad had a big fight at work with a guy named Steven.
Oh.
And he was like, not doing it. And so the name got put aside for 14 years, and finally they brushed it off, and here I am. And I'm glad for it, because, you know, I mean, maybe I would have ended up being Robert, like my older brother, and then that would just be too confusing to make sense of. But, so, you know, everybody's got a story, right? But check this out. Lately, this is in the United Kingdom, baby names, top 100 baby names of 2025. Somebody's connected some dots and realized serial killer names are working their way into the fore, if you will. Ted, as in Bundy.
Come on.
A big up-and-comer on the baby boy names.
I mean, he was quite charming, I believe.
And charming and handsome as hell. Take a look at that guy.
Cool, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ted Bundy comes up to me with a cast on his arm and says, hey, you mind helping me get something into the back of this Volkswagen? I'd give it a thought. I'd be like, wow, certainly no one that handsome and charming could be a problem. Mm-hmm. And on the women's names in the UK, Rose is making a strong comeback. Rose West, a legendary murderous wench from British history. And so people are what they're saying is it's not necessarily that young parents are going out of their way to look at lists of serial killer names. Let's name our child after Bundy, for example. But those names, because there's so much content, streamers, documentaries, movies, biopics. Yeah. These names are everywhere, and they're creeping back. Names that have been sort of out of fashion, if you will, are coming back, and it's largely because of this. Now, I look at this story and I think to myself, that makes more sense than people going out of their way to do it. But there's also a big boom in the name, I should say, Joseph. Joseph was on the outs for a while, and the people in England are saying, well, you know, Tiger King's Joe Exotic. I mean, so many people watch that show that they're giving that freak, Tiger King, credit for bringing Joseph back to the baby name list.
This can't be logical. This can't be real. I'm watching Fred and Rose West, the British Horror Story, which is on Netflix right now.
Oh, boy.
It's heavy. It's thick. So I'm kind of taking my time getting through it. At no point, if we were going to have another child, would I go, you know what? Maybe Fred or Rose would be great. Like it puts a negative connotation to those names in my head. I don't want that. I don't want to name my child that. What is wrong with people?
Hey, man, maybe you spend a little time with my wife and think, Rose is a great name. And then you realize a little too late, it's also a murderous wench's name.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Happen.
Like
These things happen.
I don't. It seems illogical to me that you would name somebody after serial killers.
If you're going to take every criminal's name off the table, then you're not going to be able to name your kid hardly anything.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being inspired by these shows like the story is claiming. That's just ridiculous. It's absurd.
Well, listen, you told me, now you took me into your confidence, and I'm sorry I'm going to violate that, but you said your parents were big fans of Paul Lynde. They love the Hollywood Squares, and there it went. You know, I mean, that makes perfect sense. See?
No, it was Paul John Knowles, the Casanova killer. That's who they named me after.
Ah, that's it. That's right.
Or it's biblical, one or the other.
I get those two guys confused all the time. and then of course Ryder, Ryder's parents big fans of self-moving companies and rental trucks and whatnot.
Oh, hell yeah.
It all
Who
makes
doesn't
sense.
love a good box truck?
Yeah.
Especially yellow. Do they come? Is it any better than yellow? I'm sorry, U-Haul, but orange just doesn't keep up with the yellow.
What are you talking about? Man, the Ryder is red and white.
Ryder trucks are yellow.
Dude, who are you talking to now?
Wow. Hold on a minute. Yeah. What am I? Hang on. The Ryder truck, generally speaking, it's
they
not.
are.
I was thinking.
What's that phenomenon where we remember things wrong?
Dumbassedness.
No. There's weed.
I
No,
was right there with you.
I'm like a yellow truck with black and red letters. Like I swear to God, it's been that at some point.
Dude, I dispatch trucks. That's Penske is yellow. And
there it is.
Black letters.
Nope, it's Ryder. They were back in the 90s. Thank you very much, Google. I appreciate you. There's the truck I'm picturing.
Okay,
fair enough.
Been a bit of an update since then.
Yeah, that's
sure,
me too.
But that's where it permeated my memory.
They ceded yellow to the Penske people. You don't cross Penske. No. If they say they want yellow, you give up the yellow. That's how that works. 651-989-ROCK. Were you named from an unusual wellspring of inspiration, or have you then in turn named your child from an unusual wellspring of inspiration? I was at a good buddy's house years ago in Texas, and his sister was there with her baby, and I said, "Oh my God, what a beautiful little girl. What's her name?" And she just said, "Oh, her name. Oh my God!" And now I'm just completely she goes, her name's Bailey. And I said, "Oh, Bailey, that's so sweet. Where'd you come up with that?" She goes, "I was wasted on Baileys when I got knocked up."
Oh, no.
And I thought that's the most romantic story I've ever heard. What a lovely spring of love and focus on the future to name your child. I mean, how many people are out there named Goldschlager? You know what I mean? These things happen. 651-989-ROCK. Let us know, what's the odd inspiration for you or someone you know's baby name? In the UK, there's been an uptick in names like Ted and Rose, serial killers' first names. And a lot of people are attributing it not to an intentional, hey, let's name our kid after the worst humans ever, but the fact that those serial killer stories are told so often on all the platforms that these names that have been on the way out are just suddenly sweeping back in. There's a new Ted Bundy docuseries, and all of a sudden the name Ted is back in the air is the simplest way to describe that. A few texts came in, 651-989-ROCK. My parents named me Vincent after the horror film actor. I'm assuming that's Vincent Price. We have the same name except for the middle name. Wow, going right after Vincent Price. Pretty strong. Kind of a creepy old dude. I mean, that turn on the Brady Bunch in Hawaii was always my favorite.
He's got a great mystique about him, though, Vincent Price.
Does.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tubby, our good buddy Tubby said, I was supposed to be Jack, as my sister suggested to our parents. They went with David, but my 20-year-old cat put on the pounds, and everyone knows me as Tubby. What?
Okay. Hell yeah, Tubby.
Tubby, coming in strong, of course.
So let me get this right. The legendary Tubby, his nickname is after his cat.
Yeah, Tubby's lean as a rail.
No, I know he is, but I'm saying his nickname comes from his cat. That's weird, Tubby.
My aunt and uncle named one of their daughters after their dead dog. The daughter's name is Sasha. I don't know if this story goes beyond the family, but that's where her name came from.
I from the day Marley was born, I've called her Binky. It came out and it just stuck and I couldn't shake it. And in the 90s, before Marley, we had a cat named Binky. And the first time I said it, I was like, wait, that's stupid. We had a cat named Binky. And then I couldn't stop saying it, and then I just forget. I just pretend the cat never existed.
I think that's different than legally naming her after the cat.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yes, and not something attached to death or what. I mean, it's just...
They really love that dog.
Well,
I guess, but the dog's dead. It's a memory. Like I don't know.
Speaking of Marley,
weird to me.
when I filled out the paperwork giving her the name Marley, the nurse said, "Oh no, don't do that." Because as I was filling out the paperwork, a Bob Marley song was playing, and the nurse thought I was making a spur-of-the-moment decision that we had. Like, she thought, oh, I mean, I know this music's nice, and you have this brand new baby, and it was a lovely moment, but maybe take a minute. And I was like, no, we already had this name approved if it was a girl. And she didn't believe me. She was like, had to go over and make double sure with Rosemary, and Rosemary's looking at her like, lady, get out of my face. I just had a baby.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess I appreciate her making sure. You'd hate.
I guess. Maybe worry more about the baby's vitals.
There's different roles. The baby was fine.
Stay in your lane, know your role. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Although there are worse things to hear after your child's born than a Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. I mean, it could have gone really sideways right there. Like if that brand new pair of roller skates song had been playing, we could have all just spent the next 20 years in hell. Yes,
but also at least that things were going so well that your nurse had the time to worry about the baby's name rather than anything else that could have been happening.
Just goes down the checklist. Check the vitals. Make sure mom's okay. Make sure dad's not a flaming idiot. That's on their checklist. It's right there. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to ask Paul Fletcher, because I'm feeling Minnesota as we speak, to lay on the headlines. Go ahead, Paul. You know what? Take this one, why don't you?
You want me to say this?
I'd like you to say it. It's the top headline of the hour. Go for it.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I don't have the specifics right in front of me because I was expecting you to do this. But check this out, people, friends.
I got the specs. Just give me 2 words.
Paul McCartney at U.S. Bank Stadium. This is going to be absolutely massive.
Paul McCartney, let's see, October the 17th at the U.S. Bank Stadium, the Got Back Tour 2025. Tickets go on sale July 18th at 10 a.m.
Man.
When you think about most stadium shows, they announce a year out. McCartney, he's like, just give me 4 months.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just give me a few months. It'll work. I saw McCartney in 2022. In Camden Yards, Baltimore, Maryland, cool. on that leg of the Got Back Tour. And I will just simply say, mind-blowing as a description doesn't even scratch the surface.
Wow.
Before the show starts, there's about a 20 to 30-minute animated feature that plays with snippets of so many songs by the Beatles, by Wings, by him with other people. And at some point while you're listening to this medley, you go, oh, wait a minute. He's not going to play any of these. That's why they're listening. That's why we're listening to them now. And it's just like, oh my God. And then he comes out and he plays 3 hours of music that you cannot imagine your life without. I will be at this show. I'm giddy right now that we're just talking about it.
And something that's going to make both of you extra giddy, it's a Friday night.
What?
Yes.
Oh, so we're absolutely going. So get this. This might trouble both of you. I don't know. I've never seen him, so I absolutely have to go.
I mean, I've never seen him either.
Okay.
McCartney's been an expensive ticket my entire life.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Understandable. Man, that's amazing. We got to make this work somehow, some way.
The undisputed heavyweight champion all time of rock and roll music. Bring your Elvis elsewhere. I'm sorry. The man is 60 plus years into being Paul McCartney, and he still brings it.
Wow.
I'm thrilled. It's a huge show. And we'll give you some more information. Band on the Run. That was the 5th album Paul put out after the Beatles. 3rd album under the banner Wings, if you will. And, the stories of the recording of that album are beyond fascinating. The best part is Paul McCartney, who recorded for EMI Records. They had Abbey Road Studios. Mm-hmm. They had studios all over the world. And he just looked at a map and said, you've got a studio in Lagos, Nigeria? Man, let's go there. That sounds exotic. Good thing there was no Google back then. What could go wrong? He thought it would be a glamorous location. He thought they could hang out at the beach during the day, record at night. No idea that a civil war had just ended in Nigeria and that a military government was in charge. They showed up to a place full of corruption and disease and the stories of what it took to get that record across the finish line, the stuff of legend. When you're a Beatle, I guess you just make it work.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that
amazing.
to say, if you're just joining us, the Got Back Tour 2025, Paul McCartney, Friday, October 17th at US Bank Stadium. You can register right now for the artist presale at paulmccartneygotback.com. How about that? We're going to have a chance for you to win tickets, in fact.
Even better.
I was just going to say, that's even better.
8:25 today. We're going to play a little something called the Twin Cities Civil War.
Woo!
And someone's walking out of here with tickets to Mecca on the Get Back 2025 tour. Pretty incredible, really, all this to say. It's a glorious day here on Minnesota's 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Gorman in the morning. Very happy to welcome Bryan Miller into the studio. A very, very funny gentleman, and for our purposes, a contestant on Rank You Very Much. Bryan, good morning.
Hey, how's it going, Steve? Good to see you.
It's good to see you, brother. First things first, Laugh Camp Comedy Club, Friday and Saturday. That's tomorrow and Saturday, July 11th and 12th. Both shows at 8 p.m. Always happy to know that you're still around doing your thing here in the Twin Cities. I mean,
yeah.
you just never know. You've been doing this a long time. It's certainly the grind has not yet worn you down.
Yeah. I still look pretty fresh-faced, I guess. 17 years, going on 18 years, I think.
Damn. Right on, brother.
Yeah.
You don't look a day over 16.
No.
Yeah.
And along the way, you've reviewed a few films. You're into the scary stuff, the horror stuff. So we thought for today's Rank You Very Much, we would ask you to play along, and we're going to take a look. We're going to rank our top 3 paranormal movies.
All right.
So and as the guest, we'll give our number 3s, we'll give our number 2s, and then, of course, we'll follow it up with our number 1s. 651-989-ROCK is the talk and text line. If you want to text us in your favorite paranormal movies, go for it. But right now, we're going to give you ours. And as our guest today, Bryan, I'm going to ask you to go first. Number 3, all-time top paranormal movie. Go for it.
It's in the title, so it's perfect. I'm going to go Paranormal Activity.
Okay.
One of the scariest movies I've ever seen in a theater. I mean, it was a great theatrical experience with a big crowd of people. I mean, people were losing their minds off this movie that were like, everything is just implied. It's like flower footprints and these really little things that are happening, but it works so well. I mean, they must have made that movie for like $50,000.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And you know what? It's funny is I considered that one. It didn't make my top 3, but it was one of the first. It's right there in the title, like you said.
It's right there in the title.
It was one of my first thoughts immediately, and it was. I think it's fair to say it was better than it ever should have been. It's better than it ever had any right to be, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you're thinking like, Blair Witch Project knockoff, and then it's just like absolutely effective. And even some of the sequels are pretty good.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. I haven't seen any of those, but I trust you.
All right, we're well on our way. Ryder, what's your number 3?
Okay, so I'm going with a movie that I will watch over and over and over again. And a lot of these paranormal activity type movies, I mean, once you see the big reveal, it kind of gets blown for you. So I'm going to go with your straight up Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters, I will watch on a loop.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm with you.
I was a college kid when that came out. I remember very, very clearly going to the theater to see it. I don't think I ever burst out in laughter harder than when Dan Aykroyd says, "The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man." I mean, when that angry ass Marshmallow Man appears and you recognize that's what was in his mind.
Yes.
I'm not making this up. I think that's the hardest explosion of laughter that's ever come out of my body.
The delivery, the timing is all outstanding in that moment.
All right. Well, man, we're safe to say we're 2 for 2 here. Fletcher, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is it was pensive. It was I guess you could even say touching and scary in its own right. I got The Sixth Sense as my number 3. It's almost kind of, I think we almost look back at that movie now and giggle at it.
Yeah.
But in the moment, it was pretty damn great.
Absolutely.
I mean, and then the big reveal at the end that you did, maybe some didn't see coming. It's pretty solid.
Oh, are you implying that you saw it coming? Was that an implication that you?
No, I did not. But I'm guessing. I track myself generally as dumber than most, and so
I didn't see it coming either. It makes me feel better.
Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I saw a movie with my buddy Wes. He turned to me at the first scene where Bruce Willis gets shot in the stomach, and he jokingly said the ending. Like as a gag, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Yes. And then when the ending hit, we were like, oh my gosh, you called it. You called it. But you didn't mean to.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. There was something about that one that just has stuck with me. I haven't seen it in a while. And now that we're talking about this, I might have to go back and watch it for the first time in a long time.
The scariest, creepiest part of that entire experience was the fact that we used to live in a time when people wouldn't spoil movies.
Dude, no, that is not true. Because I saw that one at the Burnsville Theater when I was in high school with my boyfriend. And right before the big reveal, somebody in the back of the theater yelled out, "What do you mean Bruce Willis is really dead?" And the whole theater just groaned. So it was the first time I'd ever experienced like a universal reaction from a movie crowd.
Holy crap.
Wow. And that person didn't get beat down by a mob?
They maybe did. I mean, it was real near the end of the movie. I would have been scared to go out in the parking lot.
I was referring more to like just before you even got in there. The fact that people would keep a secret back then.
Yeah.
We were a better people back in the day.
Yes.
All right.
What do
now
you got,
my list. The ones that jump to mind, I will, spoiler alert, older classics, the ones that haunted me as a younger person, except for number 3. It's not that old. I'm going with Hereditary.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I didn't want to like it. I didn't want to care at all. A friend made me go see it in the theater, and I'm like, I don't really care about these kind of things, whatever. The death of the parent, the death of a child, a headless child, a seance, flying objects, the occult, and Toni Collette. What was I thinking? It's incredible.
That scene where the kid's just sitting in the car after the thing has happened, and he just sits in the car for like 3 minutes is maybe that whole thing up until he parks and the mom comes here walking to the car is about as tense as I've ever been in a movie theater. Yeah,
there's like old Blair Witch stuff going on there. You throw the book in the fire, but then the dude catches in flames. There's so many things happening in Hereditary. And again, I didn't think in 2018 I would be spooked at I'm just way too old and jaded and I don't care. And that movie freaked me right out. So,
I'll tell you what, Toni Collette could just make a career out of just doing, because I'm not saying she's not a good looking gal. But she's kind of got, if you put her in the right context, she's got a creepy look to her.
She just look freaked out and like panicked, and like when she opens her eyes really wide, she just looks so wired. It's great.
Imagine anyone else in that part, and you can't.
No.
It's so funny. The Academy Awards would never give a nomination to someone in a horror film like that, but she should have 100% been Best Actress that year. It was an incredible performance.
I actually just had a conversation with a movie friend of mine yesterday that comedy and horror flicks don't get enough love from the critics.
Well, comedy and horror,
very similar.
I'm a comedian, and I write horror fiction. It's my side job, and they're very similar. They're both looking to do something that other things don't, which is they elicit an involuntary response. A laugh at a screen is a completely involuntary response, and so I always think that they're very closely related.
Oh, absolutely. They're the formula for a comedy and a horror are almost 100%.
When they both build tension and then they puncture the tension, and so and that's why a lot of times in horror movies you kind of laugh, like you're right on that borderline between screaming and laughing because you're looking for a way to relieve that tension.
Yep, that's very good point.
That's really good analysis too. And what, kind of our point too yesterday was the actresses in horror and comedy films. They are the ones mainly that don't get enough credit because you think of like we happen to just be talking about Happy Gilmore.
Sure,
and it's like put somebody else in Adam Sandler's role. I know it's an idiotic role, but that's not easy to do. And the same can be said for horror flicks, but yet they just don't ever get recognized by critics. It's unbelievable.
100%.
Time for number 2s. Brian, what do you got?
I'm going to go with another classic, Poltergeist.
Nice.
Yes, God.
Kind of sneaky great, like really rewatchable. And, it's Tobe Hooper who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is one of the scariest movies ever made by far.
And gross.
Not paranormal, but real scary. But then you get that Spielberg kind of magic on top of it. So you have that 80s Amblin vibe. It feels like it's happening to you at your childhood home in the early 80s.
Yeah, definitely. I thought about it. I didn't go with it. But again, I remember very, very, very clearly clearly and vividly seeing that in the theater and just thinking, this is so much better than E.T. All right, Ryder.
Take it easy.
Your number 2.
My number 2, again, a movie I will watch over and over and over again, Evil Dead 2.
Sure.
Really?
Wow. Never
I've
seen
missed it.
Really?
No.
You haven't seen Evil Dead 2 yet?
Nope.
I haven't seen, as we continue through this game this morning, you'll find I haven't seen most of them.
Oh, man. It's when special effects were still really special. This fight scene where, like, Bruce Campbell is just Ash is fighting himself.
Yeah.
Punching himself in the face. Like, it was all just him acting. It's freaking great. You got your Deadites. You got your, Necronomicon, whatever book.
Yeah, sure, all of
scary
that.
stuff going down. And a rewatchable movie.
And he's also basically Bugs Bunny in that movie. When he's fighting himself, he's doing a Warner Brothers cartoon, like, by himself.
Yes.
Interesting.
So cool.
All right, I'll take
Absolutely
your word
groovy.
for it.
His hand is a chainsaw. I mean, come on.
Very
Come
good.
on.
All right, Fletcher, your number 2.
My number 2 is kind of a little, abstract in a way as it applies to the supernatural, the paranormal, The Shining.
Oh, that was going to be my number 1. I'll have to switch it. I love it.
It's you don't have a ghost per se, but you've got a collection of supernatural forces or whatever, if you will, that sort of live in Danny's head, and then they of course force their way on Jack, and the rest is history. It's one of the freakiest flicks in the history of mankind.
All right, here we go. Right there with you. My number 2, also The Shining.
Nice.
Not only did Stanley Kubrick lose his mind, and Jack Nicholson lost his mind, and everybody. I lost my mind. I was 15, and I snuck into this R-rated feature.
Wow.
I paid for the PG movie, snuck into the R, and regretted it immediately.
And you know what? As we get to you at your age now, you seeing this movie at 15 explains a lot.
Oh my God! The creepiest twins ever filmed.
Yeah.
The hallway of blood. But at the end of the day, after all of those things had been freaking me out for so long, there was no need to put that axe in Scatman Crothers' chest. Come on. That's when I walked out thinking, I feel so bad for Scatman. What the hell? All right, that's our first. Our
Brian.
30s.
We need Brian's number 2.
No, my number 2 was Poltergeist.
You let it off.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My bad.
So,
My bad.
Do you know the theater, the Edina Theater here in Minneapolis? They have they have a shining bathroom. Their bathroom is a exact replica of the bathroom from the Overlook Hotel.
Yeah,
I've seen it. It's incredible.
It's great.
Yeah, it really is. Hey, really quick, before we abandon our 2s and go to 1s, Jonathan text in his top 3, and we haven't had a lot of people play along with full top 3 rankings, so I wanted to mention this quick. He has The Conjuring at number 3. Number 2 is Poltergeist, so right in there, and number 1, The Changeling.
Ooh, that's a great one.
So props to Jonathan in New York. Nice call there.
651-989-ROCK. Let us know your top paranormal films. In the meantime, top 3s. Kenton just texted in, I'm 59 and I still hear Carol Ann's scream. Are you hearing it? Yes.
Yeah.
That's all you got to say.
Yeah.
The name Carol Ann was retired after Poltergeist came out. If you met someone named Carol Ann, you're just like, oh, get me away from her. All right. Time for our number 1s. Bryan Miller is in studio with us, offering up his top paranormal films. And by the way, this is a man who is an accomplished film reviewer. He writes terrifying stories just because he actually enjoys it. My God, the things in the closet, the dark, inner, deepest resources of his subconscious.
I grew up in a funeral home.
No
No
You did?
way.
Yeah, my
That
family
makes
owned
sense.
funeral homes, and we lived for a while above one, and then my grandparents lived next to one, so I spent a ton of times around funerals.
Math checks out here.
Yeah.
Maybe at the top of your credits list, though, you've hosted Secret Movie Night at Imagine Theaters, which is, it doesn't get much better than that.
I picked Sorcerer, by the way, the William Friedkin movie, which was a divisive movie at Secret Movie Night.
I'll tell you what, the pressure's on. You sit down, and just for you two that don't know, Imagine Theaters at Willow Creek, their location, they do Secret Movie Night. It's hosted by somebody. Obviously, they pick a movie, nobody else. They buy a ticket, they don't know what they're going to see. When you sit down before one of those, you're like, that's pressure.
Yeah.
Like, God, I hope people don't think this pick sucks because they don't know what they're getting into. Anyway.
Anybody walk out?
I've never had one. I've done 2 or 3 of them, and I haven't had anybody yet.
No, when I've done a couple of them. When I did Sorcerer, a lot of people said it was just too heavy and like intense. I'm like, yeah, that's why it was great.
Yeah,
you ever see Sorcerer? William Friedkin when they have to drive the dynamite trucks? Amazing movie.
I did Good Will Hunting. I make mine quite palatable. I did Good Will Hunting, A Few Good Men, and Moneyball.
All great
Boring?
movies.
All great movies.
Is that what you mean by palatable is boring?
Those are not boring films.
Would you like some mayonnaise on that sandwich, sir? We got to get to it. Our number ones. Brian, your top all-time paranormal film. Let it rip.
My all-time top paranormal film is The Shining. You guys already did that one, but so since you already did that one, I'll zag a little bit. Another big-time favorite, The Witch by Robert Eggers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
That movie makes really, as much as the Blair Witch Project, that movie makes you appreciate just how scary it is to truly be alone in the woods.
Wait, that's not that. That's pretty recent, right? That's the Queen's Gambit actress, right?
Yes, it's Anna Taylor-Joy's first kind of big breakout movie where her parents they get kicked out of the religious commune in like the early Americas,
1600s Massachusetts.
Yeah,
or something.
Exactly. And it's oh my gosh.
You know what? I forgot all about it, and I truly like goosebumps. I'm freaked out because that is a great call right there. All right, Fletcher, your number one.
My number one, it's going to just play off of Ryder's number 3. I got Ghostbusters at number 1 because Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, don't really need much more than that, but we have Harold Ramis, rest in peace. Rick Moranis is phenomenal. Sigourney Weaver is hot as hell. And then you got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Slimer. What more do you need, really?
And Annie Potts rolling her eyes as the secretary. She's so funny.
Ghostbusters.
What do you want?
Yeah. So
Fair
great.
enough.
Oh, my
Very
God.
Good.
Can't beat it.
I almost feel like it's a cliche, but my number one, second William Friedman reference, I'm going right back to where it all began, The Exorcist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can't argue that.
The ultimate good versus evil. A young preteen girl possessed, spitting up green pea soup all over people, and her head spins around, and you bring in that creepy old priest. Look, this came out in theaters in 1973. I wasn't anywhere near old enough. But 5 or 6 years later, when it hit HBO, after having been told about every single moment of the movie, it still terrorized me. I say this sincerely. At my friend Brooke Lawson's house, we watched it. I did not sleep that night.
Sure.
Therefore, it cannot be topped. Exorcist. And my God, just listen to that theme song. Is there anything creepier?
Heads are spinning, literally.
Yeah. Oh, no. That's fantastic. All right.
That's good. That's really good.
That's a solid list of movies, and I have a couple movies that I now have to make sure I go see. So thank you all for playing. Rank you very much. A lot of great text messages, and we can kick back around to some of those here in a few minutes.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning, Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Bryan Miller is in studio with us. He's at Laugh Camp Comedy Club tomorrow night and Saturday night, both shows at 8 p.m. He's a very funny gentleman, but he also is a film reviewer and a scary short story, or I shouldn't say short, a scary story writer. What are we talking about? Novellas, novels? What do you do here, bro?
I've got a bunch of mostly short stories and various books. You can find some online. If you are into audio fiction, if you go to the Drabblecast, I have a couple of my favorite stories are at that, so you can listen to them. They do anthologies like that. And CreepyPod, I have a fun one about a killer roller coaster. And CreepyPod, great podcast, produced right here out of Minneapolis. I was at Corner Bar having a beer with a guy, mutual friend of a friend, and we realized, not knowing it, that I had just sent him a story, and he's the publisher. And we're drinking. We didn't even know. I thought he lived in New York or something. And I was like, wait, what? He's like, you're the guy who sent me that thing? It was wild. John, yeah, great guy.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so I did say I had a question for you. Yeah. It might just be a rumor, but the word on the street is you once saw someone get shot.
Yeah.
Really?
I've seen a couple people get shot, but this one was...
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I've seen a couple people get shot.
I've seen a couple people get shot. Yeah.
Where are you hanging out? Gun ranges?
Yeah, very unregulated gun ranges. Yeah. No, I was at my favorite coffee shop, which I will not actually plug because I don't want people to think it's dangerous.
Yeah,
it's in a really normal neighborhood. It's pretty close to my house. I was sitting outside writing my jokes, and I heard bang, and I looked up, and this dude just fell out of his car. They were transacting. There was a transaction between cars, and the transaction went south, and they shot the guy. And then I was the first responder, which not ideal when a comedian is your first responder. I don't have a lot of. It's like, hey, do you always have blood on your shirt? What's that? It's hard to crowd work with the guy on the ground.
Would you say it's?
Did he respond?
Is it 100 bee stings or 1,000?
Yeah. It seemed like it hurt quite a bit, I'll say that.
Did he make it out okay? Did he survive?
Yeah, he did. I actually had to... I hit up my old one of my old Star Tribune buddies who works the police beat, and I said, hey, man, you got to tell me if this guy dies.
Oh, yeah.
And he got back to me and goes, no, he didn't die.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's good news. All right.
Yeah.
Man.
So you and the guy haven't stayed in touch?
No.
Okay.
No, but it was it was like 3:30 in the afternoon, broad daylight in a nice part of South Minneapolis. It was wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man. So if Bryan Miller asks you for coffee, think twice. That's the word. That's the lesson I learned here.
Yep, not going to coffee with Bryan.
Laugh Camp Comedy Club tomorrow and Saturday. Brother, it's good to see you again, and you're always welcome to come by. You don't even need a reason. Just show up.
Happy to be here. It's always have a good time.
Yeah, if you even surprise us, that'd be fun. Just show up and be like, hey, guys, I'm here.
I'll just be here, and when you walk in the door, I'll just be standing in the corner like in Blair Witch.
Or one of the Shining twins. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, right on. All right, thanks, Bryan. Go see Bryan tomorrow night and Saturday. Laugh Camp, both shows 8 p.m. We are about to give away for the first time tickets to see Paul McCartney.
Feel the tension.
2 callers on hold. You know what? We got 2 winners on hold because the runner-up tickets today's contest are to the 92 KQRS Rock the Boat 80s cruise.
Nice.
July 25th. McCartney, October 17th at U.S. Bank Stadium. That's the big enchilada here, though. So we're going to play the Twin Cities Civil War. Our first contestant from the West Side, Kathy from Anoka. Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning.
West Side.
Are you ready to rock? You got 60 seconds. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions about historic events, and you got to get as many right as possible. Are you ready?
I'm going to give it a try.
All right. That's all we can do. Count us in,
I believe in
Ryder.
you, Kathy.
Okay, ready, set, go.
With their 1965 USA tour, the Beatles became the first music group to play stadiums, including a stop at which Bloomington venue?
I don't know.
The second of its kind in the country. In 1973, Eveleth's Resurrection Catholic Church hosted a mass hymns in the style of this type of dance music backed by an accordion. What kind of music?
Polka?
In 1998, after winning his bid for Minnesota governor, this former wrestler proclaimed, "We shocked the world." Who was he?
Jesse Ventura.
Opening in 1987, featuring 4 different recording studios, what Chanhassen production complex and concert venue cost $10 million to build?
Chanhassen Theater?
One of the most exciting events to ever take place on the ice. Herb Brooks coached Team USA to a win over the Soviets in the 1980 Olympics. Where did it take place?
Soviet Union.
1994. Kate. Oh, boy.
All right.
I got 2.
I know.
Kathy, looks like 2, I think.
Kathy got Polka and Jesse Ventura correct. The first question, the 1965 U.S. tour of the Beatles came through and played the Met Stadium, or Metropolitan Stadium would have also been accepted. The recording studio and concert venue complex in Chanhassen is Paisley Park. And
I knew that one.
the Olympics in 1980 were in Lake Placid. Do you believe in miracles?
Yes. All right, West Side. Kathy, you got 2, and you know what? That's sometimes that's enough around here. So sit tight.
Yep,
We're going to go over to the east side of thing. We got Michael from Hastings. Michael, are you with us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Michael. Are you ready to play a little Twin Cities Civil War?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, we'll count you in, and good luck. Get as many of these right as you can, Ryder.
All right, ready, set, go.
Hit with a severe storm in 1975, immortalized by Gordon Lightfoot a year later, what ship sank in Lake Superior?
Pass.
Released in 1996, the Coen brothers' depiction of the Minnesota accent was far more controversial than the gruesome... There you go. Living in Edina with his first wife from 1968 to 1971, what singer-songwriter wrote the song Sunshine on My Shoulders on a spring day in Minnesota?
John Denver.
Originally learning to play bass as a preteen alongside his brother Bob and the Replacements, Tommy Stinson later joined what notorious L.A. band in 1998? Wow. Credited with inspiring the career of Weird Al Yankovic, what Minnesota-born broadcaster will air his final program this October, 55 years after its debut?
Pass.
Opening in 1992, one of Minnesota's top attractions, this building sits on the site of the demolished Met Stadium and has 40 million visitors every year.
2 seconds.
Mall of America.
I mean, you didn't
After
need
the buzzer.
it, man.
Yep. There's your winner, Michael. You won from Hastings. He nailed Fargo, John Denver, Guns N' Roses, and the Mall of America after the buzzer. You missed on Dr. Demento, and you missed on the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. That is the song that Gordon Lightfoot wrote about. Or that's the ship, I should say.
But that was
Wonderful song, but I couldn't remember the name.
That's all right.
Still enough to win the McCartney tickets.
That's right.
Michael, congratulations, man. Going to see Sir Paul in October at the U.S. Bank Stadium. Kathy, you're not leaving empty-handed. You got tickets. We'll see you on the Rock the Boat 80s cruise July 25th. Thank you guys both for calling in and playing.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Hang on for me.
Thank you so much.
And maybe just as important as winning the Paul McCartney tickets, Michael has tied it up for the East Side.
That he has.
Very important. Very important.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, I feel the pressure on that one. I'm trying to get through the questions really quickly, but I don't want to I don't want to be so fast they can't understand the words I'm saying. But man, I mean, the pressure's on all of us.
Yes, but we're going to do it again tomorrow, so everybody be prepared.
Ooh, more Paul McCartney tickets up for grabs, huh? Wow, we got another pair. That's awesome.
I love doing these. I feel like Wink Martindale when we're doing these sort of things. You know what I mean?
You know, and when you turn your head to the side, you kind of look like him from the side.
Or actually, kind of like also maybe a Bert Convy comes to mind. One of my favorite game show hosts. The often forgotten Bert Convy.
Oh, man.
Bert Convy. Which show was he? Do you know? Do you remember?
What was it, Tattletales? I don't know. I can see him. He was always funny.
As long as it wasn't the creepy dude that was on was it the match game or the dating game? Or the match game, I think it was back in the day. That dude was creepy.
Oh. The goat,
Gene
though.
Rayburn?
Yeah.
No, with the microphone that's like 36
yes.
inches tall.
Oh my
really
God, the way he like hung over the female contestants, and different times, but my God, he's creepy as hell.
Anyway, the goat Alex Trebek is who is in my head as the questions are being put together.
Yeah, he is the goat.
Oh, you know what? All right, thank you for that. That's my cue. Tomorrow I'll go full Trebek.
Or Bob Barker. That's another ledge.
I want mustache era Trebek.
Time for the last word.
Real quick, I just got to say, Jade shot around the video of Billy Corgan looking so uncomfortable at the Mall of America when he was in town like a week ago.
Oh, really?
Punctuated by that song, Bullet. Like, who brought him to the Mall of America?
Wow.
In what I affectionately call Camp Snoopy, he was sitting in front of the Tweece Ring Wide.
That's fantastic.
So uncomfortable.
Right. That gives me something to go look for and find.
All right, hit me with the last word.
Well, that's actually kind of appropriate here.
Okay.
There's a quote from John Lennon people love to share. Everything is the opposite of what it is, isn't it? And it's a philosophical idea about the nature of reality and perception. Things may not always seem to be things are not always what they seem. There's a duality to everything.
Okay.
Jam band hippies are actually just covering all the anger and rage inside, and dudes in metal bands are sweethearts. Yes. Perfect example, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Another great example. Walt Disney, kind of an iconic figure in American pop culture, had a lifelong battle with moosophobia, a fear of mice.
No.
Walt Disney, from childhood, terrorized by mice. And what did he invent? Well, of course, that would be Mickey Mouse.
The most lovable mouse of all time.
Go figure. He was doing his best. He was fighting those mice old demons for sure.
Gorman in the Morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the Morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.